Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Sir Stephen Topham at the third at your service. Now we're going to be talking about something that is serious, but it's also a quote. It's also a message to be passed on, right? Requested by one of my private connections that I have, right? Or connections, even that, vice versa. He says my private connection always states this to me all the time, right? A lot of the time, we have to take this very seriously. All my support angels do this a lot, and they do help me to make the dream work. Exactly. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's very, very core, but down straight to the point. A lot of people assume that it's going to take its time, don't get me wrong, but it actually makes sense on everything else. So while they're making the teamwork makes the dream work, as they call it unfolds a little bit more about what needs to be done, how to correct the problem before the world falls apart. We don't need the world falling apart. We need to keep it as a whole and the healing process, which is true. A lot of the time, what my support engines do for me on a day-to-day basis, yes, they help me with a lot of things that I cannot do on a regular basis. Some are like really there for me. Why? Because there's a lot of things in reality of Thomas and Friends that have, even Thomas and the Magic Railroad, it all adds up. Right? It will click slowly. Right? But the teamwork makes the dream work. And a lot of it is all true, it's facts, it's logic. No BS, no whatsoever. I'm making it straight to the point and not going ahead of it. A lot of people said to me, there's a reason why we do this. Right? We get to the point where we stand in everything. Right? A lot of my private connections have to do what they needed to be done. Even my connections and even my support angels, we're all there to support each other in difficult times, the best times, the sad times, the accident wise, etc., etc. We all connect somewhere. All right, I get it. But there's a lot of things I have to have support with, regardless. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's what is quotatively quoted. Right? My private connections know what I'm talking about. They don't need to BS. They're straight to the point. Right? I said in the last podcast, I can't live in the world where you don't love me. Right? That's another quote. But that's in the last podcast I just done recently. Right? This one is a total special because someone's been requesting me to do it. Right? We know what's unfolding. We know what's going ahead. We know what needs to be done. But you see, it takes a little while to get things going. But there's a lot of my support angels that doing some of the work to help me out. You know, there's a lot of people, you probably don't know what is going on and whatever next. I said it's all there in black and white, right? I get that. But when things come to us, or we know what's unfolding and whatever next, etc., we know what needs to be done to correct everything up, to keep the world healed, if you will, not falling apart. There's a reason why I am like saying teamwork makes the dream work, which is true. A lot of things that I know it's a hard job. I get that. It's not easy to let my hair down as much as you think I can handle, but it's just the way it unfolds. Right? We all knew from the beginning, the middle, and the end, we know what needs to play out correctly. I know it's hard because a lot of people have to help me out. There's a lot of support engines about, don't get me wrong, but I am trying to safeguard them as they try to safeguard me, vice versa. But we all have our connections and colleagues and friends and so forth that make it work, right? Which is why the teamwork makes the dream work. It's the actual quote, special, true story all the way through. Right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Right? A lot of people may not understand what's going on foldably, but it's all facts. It's all logic. It's all truth. Of course, there is a problem that I need to re-rectify. Why? Because we have to safeguard up everything from bottom up. A lot of people think, why? Why is he coming out with all of this? I said, teamwork makes the dream work. But this is no dream. This is reality of it. And this is why we're doing it in reality to do it for you. Right? I get the drill that my family needs to do a lot of things as well as me. Right? End of the day, all the answers, all the clues, all the facts are all coming through. Like ring bella boom 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 boom. And it all adds up. When you always think you you that you buy the stuff, you get what you need, bang bang. But in the day, there's a lot to go through. I get that, but the teamwork makes the dream work because we want to tell you a private connection told me to do this podcast as a special rather than just a true story on top. It's all connected, right? So when my private connections and support engines are trying to help me all the way through this, left, right, and centre, they can only do so much, right? Right? A lot of support engines need help anyway. You got Leon like before, which is me and my wife and my mother and Duck, obviously. That's it. Right? You have to move forward a bit now to get us connected. You know, but you have to understand to make the dream work, you have to make the team work to make the dream work. Right? It's true. It's fact and it's logic. A lot of people may not understand what I'm talking about here. A lot of people have to do certain actions to get the dream to work. Right? It takes a lot of time and effort. I understand there's a lot of people involved diplomatically, physically, doing what needs to be done. And my family has a right call for to the foundation bottom up. But there's so much to think about in one day. It's like saying, yeah, well, here you go. But this is not the end of it. You know what I mean? It's just like it's showing you in front of you and everything else. I said, sometimes I have to really know what I'm doing to get things going again, right? People want things or need things because it's an important key. But to do that, teamwork makes the dream work. Now, if I try to explain this to the world and to the community as well, I said teamwork makes the dream work. But the thing is, there's certain knowledge and certain material I got in my head that I can't disclose in public eye or on the internet because there's so much relating to knowing what's unfold. But there's a lot to go through. It's not just like it's like a big, big release. Like when people think of me thinking I'm angry, being a BSer and all that, don't even think that because I'm not a BSer. I'm straight to the point, truthful, honest, and respectful. Right? That's me. Right? There are things around you that my private connections, support engines know about. I said there's certain things I know, certain things that my support engines know. That there's a limitation on some support engines that are not allowed certain information about my life and my timeline and going through the future. Yes, of course, I've got my future in my head. It's all playing out correctly, but it's just a little bit odd at the moment. Which I did explain so many podcasts. It's like I said, it's a puzzle that's slowly coming together. When it does, it will click at the right time at the right place. But this is not the time right now. I know I'm a little bit ahead because I know what is ahead of me. And I have to time it right for myself, as well as the individual, what I will say, the person that I that I got in my life. You know, it takes a little time to move up the ladder. Of course, trust, honesty, respect goes a long way with it too, but teamwork makes the dream work. And a lot of it is like, yeah, why is he saying that? Why is he saying this? I said it's all facts, logic, and truth. I will not lie to any of you in any shape or form. When it all passes the message around, people are getting the memo these way round instead of telephone calling, emailing, texting. We don't need to put it on record like that because we have to say safeguarded. Why? Because we have to privatize to a lot of degree. But as when you know me too well, you're just now getting catching up with the book now, basically. And now you've got to try and get the other half in, correct the time stream, basically. And people know it's true. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's no lie, no deceits, no dishonesty. Right? It's all there in black and white. It's confusing at first, yes, but it's fact, it's logic, and it's truth. For a lot of people that don't fully understand what's unfolding here, I said there's a lot to be thought about here, right? In logical terms. A lot of people know what's going unfolding, right? Because we see face to face contact. It's difficult when my whole life ahead of me it's already been written. It's a very difficult process right now, right? There's a lot of things about my life that I can't disclose, but overall, you probably just got the rough edge of it, if you will, to say, look, this is real, realistic, bang. You know what I mean? That's it, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. But a lot of people that help me in my flat, they only support engines, right? So they can only go so far, right? If they get burnt out, then we all going downhill a lot, which we don't want, right? A lot of people have asked a lot of questions. What's the difference between what we got to do correctly from the ones that we read by books or that way or online books or whatever you want to name it? I said there's things around you that you know is true, but let it unfold naturally, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. You know, it unfolds in a very unusual way. I know. When you think I'm sitting there in my chair or waiting to have a load of orange juice down my G2Os like I normally do, I don't smoke, I don't drink as heavily, I don't. You will find out that I'm well respected. Don't get me wrong. Teamwork makes the dream work. Requested by a private connection of mine, if you just tuned in. But it's actually a truth quoted from a private connection. Simple as. And support engine on top, obviously. But it makes you realise why I'm saying it to get the facts on the line here. Right? You see, the things we need can't happen straight away because there's a little problem in the middle, which we have to solve correctly and get it out of the way. It's just like saying there are people out there that are wanting me, like I stated in the last podcast, they wanted me out of the way. I said they can't have me out of the way because I was uniquely designed for people. You know, when people like my family are uniquely designed for people, right? Which is true, depending on the circumstances, right? Even personal health or disabilities or anything like that. We know what we've got in common. It's just that it's already it's piecing together slowly, right? There's a people that say, well, to get the teamwork makes the dream work, right? It's no lie. It's just a real fact that's really down to earth. But I want you to understand this is no BS. It's straight to the point. So it's like saying, without going into too much detail, you want Richard, Topham Hatt, and Emily Helen Hatt? Well, even day I know who, you know what I mean. I know things, but I can't say it out loud. But people have worked it out so much, they know what's supposed to play out. Even Wild Sylvester, he knew about it. So he's done his teamwork to make the dream work. You know what I mean? When people know things like this, click, 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 it has to slowly for me. It took me a little while to catch up, but I eventually got where I need to be, but I just need to click it all in place slowly. I'm not ruining it, I'm just slowly putting it together. I'm not rushing it, I'm putting it together slowly, piece by piece by piece. But I'm not going to rush it over in 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. It's going to take a little while because it's all built on trust, honesty, and respect. I know a lot of people understand where I'm coming from logically, but when you want something, you have to make the team work to make the dream work. I know it's a title, but it's a quote from a private connection of mine around the globe. Even the United Kingdom said the same message. They didn't have to say it the other way round, but they say it in their own terms, right? Teamwork, teamwork makes the dream work, always. But you just have to let it unfold naturally to begin with. Why? Okay, it makes it harder on me because I have to do what needs to be done, but under wraps. Everybody knows it's true. Everybody knows the logic. I don't like to hide secrets as much as anybody else don't, but in this case, safeguards are up, right? I'm not don't want it to really push the boat, if you will, to say, look, I need people on the same page as us to able to go forward. But a lot of people are worrying about everything too much. So they're asking for their needs when they can't get the needs at the moment because they're missing a piece of a puzzle, which I just solved. Right? We all understand. I said teamwork makes the dream work. But I'm only done that because I've been told by a private connection to quote it. So it's a unique, very special for the true story because it's not a normal special I will give out. Right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Right? It takes a lot of that, and the album will have to do the same message. Teamwork makes the dream work. It always play out. It's correct, it's fact, and it's logic. For a lot of people that don't understand this, teamwork makes the dream work. But it's true, it's logic, and it's fact. You can't beat. There's a lot of people out there, 8 billion people, that don't understand what's unfolding. And I said, yeah, well, there's children, there's adults, everything. It all adds up, right? When it all clicks, 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 you have to help me a little bit. It's not just the other way round as well. It has to be vice versa, right? A lot of people know a lot of things better than others, right? But there are things in life, private lives, we have to keep to ourselves to a point, right? I know what's unfolded. I just had to play it out a little bit because teamwork makes the dream work, right? It's no lie, no deceits, no worryingness, right? When the Albion helps me, teamwork makes the dream work. Right? When it all goes together, bang, 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 it all clicks in place slowly. Right? We all have to be on the same page to get it working. It's like having a big engine in front of your face on the rails, trying to motivate all of this mechanical engineering, which we're not laughing about this. This is like a dead serious point of course. Right? My family, right, in the past had to do a lot of engine work. 2 engines, my add. And we had to build and build and build and build them. And it said teamwork makes the dream work. Right? Of course, there were mistakes that were made in the past that we have to recorrect. Keep doing it. We have to keep repeating the same pattern. Of course, teamwork makes the dream work. Always happens, right? Then it all goes through, and then it starts kicking in, and then it starts with my family all the way through, and it goes right through to the third generation, which is me. But in the day, right? There's so much you got coming your way. You don't realise how the teamwork makes the dream work. It always has been, always shall be. But private connection, Tommy, do everything, we have to work together. You can't work on your own on this. No way. Won't work. If I worked on my own all my life, then it, then the problem that we try and prevent, as a example, would be a devastating move. But I'm just trying to point out teamwork makes the dream work because a private connection told me. Right? I'm not going to give out names because that's not what I do. Right? A lot of people say I'm famous, which is true. But you have to be realistic on what's unfolded here. You only get once in a lifetime until my son gets into power and then my granddaughter finalizes it off. But to get that, you need the missus, which is why it has to play teamwork makes the dream work. I know a lot of people out there that don't want this event to happen, but it's got to happen to keep you alive and everybody else alive. Right? It's really that simple. It's not a game. However, all the pieces are all in place. They just need clicking at the right time and the right place. So when I now try to verify it all, I am verifying it to you because it's fact. Right? Because while you talk about Wild Northwestern's timeline, it adds up. Right? In the day, the teamwork makes the dream work. Right? When I get to a certain age, in my 50s and 60s, I don't really want to initially put it in perspective for you. I can't keep continuing without support. Right? So I'm going to end up saying to you guys that if you want this dream to work, teamwork makes the dream work, as they say right now. We all have to work together. We can't be separated when we do this. It's not easy, I get it. For a lot of people that's seen this right through, like I said, history has a habit of repeating itself when you less expect it. But this is not what we're talking about today. We're trying to get you to understand teamwork makes the dream work. And it always has done. When people expect the unexpected, I said it's all true story, but it's also special. Why? Because the teamwork makes the dream work. You know, even when I'm not at the Norfolk Railway, at least I know what they're up to. I don't have to argue with them or debate with them. Just let them get on with it. As long as they do their job correctly, they'll be fine. I'm only down here in case of emergencies. Right? I get that. That's what I'm here for. But I'm not alone either. You know, the unlikely four, my wife, myself, and mother and duck, that's it. That's only four of us. Why? Because, in the day, my grandfather, George Henry Cooper, made sure this dream works. Why? Because it did come true. Why? And eventually, so did Lily. So did their parents. Which would have been my mother's grandparents. Which is true. And Margaret's on top. It all adds up. Now you've got the third generation coming through. We are slowly coming together. Just make the teamwork makes the dream work. It's not it's not gonna be this big podcast that you all wanna know. It's just a less than an hour. Why? Because we don't want to keep talking about it. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's always been truthful, honest, and respectful. We've never been dishonest with the public or the community. Never have done, never will do. I'm too honest, trustworthy, and kind. This is what's different about me from my father. As example, but in the day, I left him alone, he left me alone. We just gone our separate ways, but we're still family, regardless that. But in the day, teamwork makes the dream work. It's been protocol for a reason, right? The alien knows my secrets, but they gotta keep it secret. Once they know something, they know, but they can't say it out loud. It's why we have to keep together. I said my family will always keep together. You know, sometimes when we look in the mirror and we end up saying what, and it all adds up. So when it does unfold in front of your eyes, of course it's going to unfold naturally, of course. But the swan song is what we're going through. The Iron Swan song would have killed me and everybody else. I can't have that because I'm not. In some aspects, the world will fall apart, which is number one, which we don't want. So every engine, support engine, everybody else, the teamwork makes the dream work. It's one phase that I can guarantee you on that we're all working together to achieve that goal. Right? It's like a goal that has to be done to save the world. You know what I mean? It's not just a random up. This is not. This is not a joke at all. It's just that I'm privatised. My lady hat's privatised. My mother's privatised, and Dr. Hat's privatised. All you have to do is wait patiently. This is not in the day. We are getting what you need, but you have to be very patient now because time takes a little while. Okay, which is fine, but understandable. Teamwork makes the dream work. But in the day, when I know things, right? Which is true. But you have to realistically say, if you don't want certain things to unfold, which is true to a point, there are things that has to unfold to get everything corrected. But there are things that have to unfold naturally to a very high level degree. I've only done this as a special of it because teamwork makes the dream work. It's not just a normal true story, but it's a special on top to get you understanding it's happening in front of you. I don't have the luxury, number one. I can't work on my own all my life. I can't rely on my brother and Duck for support all the time because they don't have the time. So what happens? In the day, when you put all the pieces together, they are slowly coming together. You know, it's like all my private connections, my friends, my colleagues, and all of that. They all know what's unfolding correctly, right? As long as we play it out correctly, we get what we need, right? I get that people are worried. I get that 100% of the scale. I get that point across, right? I get why you're worried, upset, or depressed, or not thinking straight, or not realizing what I said. Teamwork makes the dream work. So, in logical terms, a lot of what I'm doing is all in facts and truth, but they don't want the bad thing to happen, right? Because they don't want the world to fall apart, right? Because I, my family's done too much work. I get that. They've done a lot more effort, which I'm not getting apologies from the Norfolk Railway as example. They've been courteously off. That's why I left them because I put the door on that. Said no, you're not hurting me, right? That's that bit. That's that bit out of the bag, right? Because we're gonna let them mess. In the day, it's gonna because in the day it's unfolding in truth. But when you watch Wild Northwestern's timeline, season 5 and the modern years, it all adds up. But they don't want to see the bad part, which is what fills in with the other another connection of ours, family friend connection that takes over from my granddaughter Emily Helen Hatt. You see, like I said, in the day, slowly catch a monkey, and teamwork makes the dream work. They're all there in black and white. It's just the way I'm explaining it to you because it has to be done. It's not a normal routine, don't get me wrong, but teamwork makes the dream work. It's not a normal phrase I will come out with because I need it out with you because it will help you as it helps me. Right? Some things have to be what you call prioritized, which just enables me to put a safeguard on myself and a safeguard on my lady hat and safeguard on my mother and safeguard on Duck. But that's four of us already in check. But then we got the kids, in the day we got I'm safeguarding some other people as well in play, which is not an easy task. But like I said, I can't work on my own to do the job that we need to do. We have to work together as a team. Team effort, team everything. It's like saying teamwork makes the dream work. We all knew that I was going to come out with this punchline because it's not just a normal quote, right? So when I state for the record, teamwork makes the dream work, once that's quoted in your head and you know exactly what it is, but I'm not going to bullshit with you, right? I'm not going to be in a position where it's going to be what I told you from the beginning. People know things ahead of schedule, but they had to let it unfold naturally. And what they've done is they've done it from your grandparents to you lot, basically down the line. But the middle part knew what they were doing, but they couldn't work it out why they got these codes, key codes, etc. And it all adds up. And eventually it will all click and play. I tell you now, teamwork makes the dream work. It's not what I'm stating is this dream came from a lot of people we cared about, people we know about, people that have respect, honesty, and trust that I'm following by my principles of. But at the same time, like I state, when I said to you it was going to unfold naturally, which it will be, I need I do get reassured every time. But all the trust, all the honesty and respect that's coming through, slowly catch a monkey. Like I said, the teamwork makes the dream work. But it's not just the end it's not the end game. No. It continues still further. Why? Because yeah, we've got Emily Helen Hatt in play yet, or my son Richard, right? But they're the next ones on the list. But you got me, and you got my wife, and you got my mother, and you got Duck. Not the easiest thing, but it's true. It's fact, it's logic, and respectful. Teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you very much. In every angle.